Hey, welcome to the Daredevil Born Again official podcast. I'm Wilson Bethel. I play the cold, calculating, and milkshake-loving assassin, Benjamin Poindexter, better known as Bullseye. Every week, we're digging into each episode of the season, sharing behind-the-scenes stories, and chatting with the cast and crew of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again, now streaming on Disney+. On today's show, we will be diving deep into the bloody events of Episode 4, including that jaw-dropping final scene. Joining me to discuss all the chaos that went down is the man who knows Daredevil best, showrunner Dario Scardapane. But first, here's a recap of all the game-changing moments in Episode 4. So if you haven't watched, stop right now and come back after you've seen it. Okay, so episode starts out, Bullseye walks into the Bel Air diner, asks the waitress for a banana milkshake, sounds delicious, with whipped cream. He calls 911 and reports that Frank Castle, the Punisher, has walked into the diner and pulled out a gun. But that's, of course, a lie. He finishes his milkshake, and then he finishes every last cop that raids the place, assuring one poor bystander that, he's one of the good guys. He leaves his insignia on the door, spelled out in ketchup. Who doesn't love ketchup? All the while, New York State of Mind plays over the entire scene. I'll never hear Billy Joel the same again. My goodness, what a banger. Hell of a way to start out an episode of television, if I do say so myself. Our heroes gather video testimonies, meanwhile, from released prisoners from episode 203, and the Northern Star's first mate contributes the most vital testimony. Truly damning stuff for Fisk, but we all know that's not going to end well for that guy. Meanwhile, Mr. Charles's hold on Fisk wanes, especially after Buck shoots two of Mr. Charles's goons. Vanessa and the governor seem to forge a bond, and Bullseye and Daredevil, not so much. But that's exactly what Bullseye wants, so they can, kill Fisk together. Wouldn't that be nice? However, Daredevil just won't budge. Can you believe this guy? The Northern Star's first mate is taken into protective custody by U.S. Marshals, but that doesn't protect him from Buck Cashman, who adds to his body count this episode. At the big climactic boxing match after Fisk pummels his opponent to pieces, Vanessa makes a surprise appearance, which in theory sounds like a good idea, and she joins him in the ring. But about that same time, Bullseye arrives. He takes out another cop, then another cop, then another cop, then another cop, and then he throws a glass trophy at Fisk. Fisk, thinking he's doing the right thing, blocks the glass trophy using his new championship belt, shattering it, but it sends a shard into Vanessa's head. So, oops.
Well, welcome to the Daredevil Born Again podcast, Wilson.
This feels very official.
We do this all the time.
Yeah.
And we're talking about episode 204, one of my all-time favorite sequences in it. And
I still can't believe it's real.
Script to screen on this one, rarely does it stay that true the whole time.
Yeah.
When you first read it, did you have it like that? The tone is so perfect.
Well, thank you. I basically had never listened to Billy Joel before. And so when Slick told me that that was going to be the piece that this is all sort of choreographed to, I hopped on a city bike and I rode around Brooklyn for about 4 hours listening to that song on repeat.
Perfect.
And I reached some new level of consciousness in general, but then also as it related to the episode. I don't know. It became this a real guiding principle for me. I can't even explain it. It was sort of spiritual, the way that song all worked together.
You got a New York state of mind.
I got into a New York state of mind.
But the thing that was cool about that from the writer's room, Benjamin Poindexter, Bullseye, you don't play him as a villain. He starts out season 1 so violently, so kind of intense. He's masked. Mm-hmm. We don't really feel anything about the actual guy. Mm-hmm. Then in this season, he's kind of come to a happy place in the sense that I'm a vigilante. I can be on the side of the angels here. I can be one of the good guys.
Yeah. One of the things I think that we can pretty clearly say about this guy at this point is that he is sort of in his best zone functionally when he has something to fixate on.
Yep.
It kind of gives him guardrails, it gives him purpose. And in this case, the thing that he is fixated on, as you said, is this one good deed thing that also happens to have a moral component to it. So he's just convinced that he is Miss Johnny Righteous.
He can set the balance right.
Exactly. Which of course, we as viewers then get to be what?
Yeah.
This guy?
Well, that's the thing.
Is on a crusade.
And that's kind of like the fun thing, and it's a testimony to what you did. You guys have really lived with these characters for a really long time. And what you kicked off with Poindexter, with Bullseye, I'm kind of picking it up. And now in season 1, it starts out with an act of complete villainy. And then we go into, and we had the discussion about, I want to get my mind back, and that idea of being manipulated. And one of the things that you said to me, it really helped. I don't want this guy to just be manipulated again.
Right.
And then I was like, okay. The out of his mind Bullseye in the comics is a ton of fun. Wouldn't translate. It's not what you did in season 3. So coming up with this, like, what's going to make him get out of bed in the morning? Well, I can go do a good thing. And I wanted to ask you, so the sequence we're talking about, one day, 80 setups?
I mean, it's mayhem, man. Yeah, like, I think that number is right. I mean, Phil might correct me, but I mean, the bottom line is it was an insane number of setups that basically only could have been pulled off by somebody like Phil, who is one of the most incredible artists I've ever worked with of any kind, and also just an absolute, like, stone cold pro. If this was like a Marvel movie version of the show, that would have been 3 weeks easy to film that sequence, and we did it in a day.
And would probably be the budget that we are using for an episode.
Exactly,
for the episode.
Exactly. As it was, it felt like we were making like the most gangster independent film you've ever seen in your life, and everybody is just firing on all cylinders for 12 or 14 hours or whatever it was. And by the time you get to the last shot, there's this sense of like, holy shit, we just did this. And then at that stage, feeling like, okay, I think this is going to be pretty cool, but you don't really know. I mean, I remember they showed the first glimpse of it at the wrap party when we went, and I cried. I mean, I'm not too proud to say it. Like, I couldn't believe it was. I had never seen myself involved in something on screen that was that cool. It was enough that I'm like a hypercritical viewer of my own performances and stuff. I forgot that I was looking at me, which is wild.
There's something about this show, the collaboration gets really deep, is a good way of putting it, because I think...
But I've got to jump in and say, that's huge testament to you, to Sana.
The thing that's been so cool about these sequences is that it starts off with a whole bunch of communication that we are all fans to, like... You couldn't do what was done in the diner without total buy-in from everybody. In the same way, you can't do what happens later where it's like you and Charlie are bargaining. And you can't do what happens even later, because this episode is like the total banger. You have the diner scene, you have the kind of like deal with Matt and Bullseye, and then you have the end.
One of the great finales of any episode we've ever done.
And then you leave it in a place of like, wait a second, they just ran off together.
Yeah.
For once, there was going to be, I don't like the word team up, but you were going to end up in the same place, kind of side by side with Daredevil. Did that change anything for you?
I always love working with Charlie.
Because you guys have a very good chemistry.
Yeah, I mean, it
for
comes,
adversaries.
But it also comes partly from the fact that, like, I fucking love that guy. Like, we're dear friends, So, and this is a friendship now that's existed for 10 years or whatever, since we started season 3. And in that whole time, we've only gotten to actually be like on screen scenes, together, right? A handful of times. So when it happens, when it's really there, I think there's like a little extra juice in it, and excitement, both knowing sort of the history of the comics and sort of the history that we've created over this, 3 seasons of Daredevil, but also, over our personal history. And I think that's it's a really exciting, cool thing. And that certainly is something I bring into that. I'm sure, Charlie to a degree does as well. But it definitely makes that super special. And then obviously as it continues to play out over the course of the season, there's really fun elements of these foes in a very new dynamic that is sort of inexplicable in a way. Like, how did they get here? How are they getting out of this thing?
Right, and that's the fun thing for us in the writers' room is always kind of paint ourselves into corners.
Right. I was going to ask you that. Like, what other versions ended up on the cutting room floor that like.
So we shut down the season 3 writers' room last night. We had a dinner for everybody. Yeah. We finished the writers' room part of season 3. And I sit there looking at all these people, and I'm so like tickled and moved at the same time, because for what hits the page, there's probably 20. What about? It's like, that's terrible, man.
Yeah.
And much like the cast, we've been doing it now 3 seasons. It's pretty much the same core group. Everybody's really respectful, really friendly. So you don't have ideas getting shot down in a mean way.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, that's not happening. And then a lot of the stuff that we will like know, because there was in season 2, there was like, we can never really get Matt and Ben on the same page because he killed Foggy.
Yeah.
But you and Charlie managed to put a lot of that weird moral vagary into it, you know?
Right.
And the funny thing is working with the actors, everybody has a take. And the funny thing is I'll have a conversation with you, and we'll talk it out. I'll go have a conversation with Ayelet. We'll talk it out. I'll have a conversation with Vincent. It's all different angles of the same take. Like everybody, without even knowing it, they're on the same page.
I mean, I've never worked with a showrunner who I felt was as receptive to feedback as you are. This is a very like deep compliment that, you know, I really,
thank
truly,
you very much.
no, truly. Nobody is showing up like, okay, I'll just read the words on the page. So I am sure there have been multiple times over the course of you running this show where Ayelet comes to you with a thought, Vincent comes to you with a thought.
And I'm like, there's no way I can reconcile this.
Exactly.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. So thank you very much for the compliment. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of the times you don't. You kind of, when the actor comes to you and goes, here's what I'm thinking, and it's like, cool, that's great. No.
Yeah.
Right? But in this case, and particularly with this cast, and it's something I'd learned when I was working on The Punisher way back when, if I'm not listening, I'm probably losing the opportunity to write a scene a little bit better. And that became really evident in season 1 with the diner scene. It was good on the page. I was very proud of it. Once I sat down and talked to Vincent and Charlie, the scene got so much better because that moment when Matt caps on him and he laughs, that was never on the page. When they get the laugh out of Fisk, and that came from them. They're like, there has to be humor. So, long story short, as I always do, these are actors you listen to, but you have to have a filter. On 304, weirdly, everybody was in the same place.
Wow. That's amazing. And I do think that's also the sign of actors who they are thinking as true storytellers and not just as people who are reciting words on a page, albeit convincingly. They understand, I think on a bones level, that is the natural and perfect culmination to the events that have led them to that place.
So, and also you and I are late to the party also with these guys because they had a whole thing with a different regime. And they're custodians of their own work, and they really want to make it as good as possible. And like I said, if I didn't listen, I'd be making a mistake.
So good versus evil versus bad versus evil. It feels to me like that is the essential quandary of Matt Murdock.
The fun thing about, and this goes back to, without a doubt, Frank Miller and his take on Daredevil, you have an absolute untenable irony in that this is a lawyer who argues for justice in a courtroom and then goes out in a mask and breaks people's bones. Like, that's an issue. And with regards to Bullseye, I try and boil a character down to a couple of words that I run through my head as I'm writing.
Dude, what are Bullseye's words? Are
Pragmatism.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
Pragmatism. Like, do you think he'd be upset about holding the neighbor at gunpoint? I'm like,
no.
He would think about it for less time than it took me to run this sentence. No. He's in my way. She is a shield.
Right.
And I think that that's one of the fun things that goes into, and I know this happens with Phil when he's choreographing how Bullseye moves and works. It's efficient. Matt has time for navel gazing. Right? And it's different than, so like one of my greatest dreams, they asked me in an earlier podcast, like if you could pair up somebody you haven't, I'm like, it has to be Bullseye and Punisher. Because you'd think from the comics that they're similar. Not at all. Bullseye is kind of more dispassionate, more pragmatic. A to B morality, you acknowledge it exists.
Right.
But
exactly.
And Punisher is completely overdramatic. And sorry, John, but he like agonizes over things. He takes it all to heart.
And what's cool, I think, you know, in terms of the Bullseye component of that, is that like all of Bullseye's turmoil is sort of like just in his mind alone. It is almost never about what he has done. You know,
it's what's happened to him, what what scars of the past. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is you're absolutely right. We do something with Bullseye in the score, and it's in that scene. We call it the bugs in the brain
Yeah,
theme.
right.
It's that kind of scratchy
I love it.
violin.
I love it.
But we use it when you're absolutely placid.
Yeah.
Like, there is no wasted action. There is no like frenzy with him.
Yeah.
You're never going to see him stomping around going, "Oh, I'm angry." It's just Bullseye. I mean,
Yeah.
it's straight line,
Yeah.
bullet to Bullseye. And then behind it, who
Yeah.
knows what's going on there?
Well, and it's funny, you know, the only piece of episode 204 that I can remember not having made it into the episode, and of course I know from an editorial perspective exactly
Are you
why.
going to say the white noise?
Yeah.
It was actually a really, really smart scene. It was very cool for him to come back after all this mayhem, sit down, put on a tape, and then the white noise plays. And then when you're looking at it, he looks like a machine. And it was so funny because I would have never thought on the page, even when we shot it, and then when it's all cut together, you're like, wait a second, it just took all personality away from him.
That's funny because I thought, when I was watching the episode, I thought it wouldn't make sense because what you kept with the Fisk thing on the TV and him flicking the coin at it, I'm like, oh, there was no way to connect those two pieces. But now I realize it was just my performance of not...
No, it wasn't even that. It was the idea that the score, that violin stuff, tells us more about what's going on than the white noise did.
Yeah. And by the way, just like, I mean, I feel so, I mean, honestly, just like grateful that the amount of care and consideration has been given to this character where he has his whole own color palette. He has his whole own theme music. He has these, like you said, sound design elements that are uniquely his. It is, again, just like a real testament to the care, I think, that is given from the highest level, from Dario, from Brad,
it comes from
Sana.
above me.
Yeah,
it really does.
But then to the craftspeople, the artists who are also executing this stuff, whether they're, you know, the gaffers who are rigging the lights and making these color palettes look amazing, to our incredible composers, like they are building out this world, you guys are building out this world in really remarkable ways. It's the coolest production I've been part of. Everybody cares so much about getting the details right and investing all of themselves into those details.
So I know what I'm doing on the page, but I'm like, it's always this fun thing because, you know, you get the script, then we talk afterwards. But when we first started this, when I kind of came in and we're rebooting Bullseye, do you approach Bullseye as a hero or as a villain?
Yeah, I mean, he's a hero in the sense that you or I think a lot of people in their lives are the hero of their own journey, right? I don't think a hero in a heroic sense, but just like he is the natural protagonist of his story and the protagonist that does not view himself as a bad person. And I think that his psychology, which is extremely complicated, you know, he is mentally ill, and it puts deep emotional blinders toward a lot of the rest of the world. I think he's an incredibly self-centered person in a lot of ways. Like, he is so wrapped up in his bullseye vision, as
myopia.
you said.
He literally...
That so much of what you and I have to consider in terms of how we're going to affect, you know, how our actions affect somebody else, whatever, the collateral, all that stuff, it's just completely out the window. And it was, you know, one of the ways that I approach, for example, I know you get a kick out of it, like when Bullseye sits down at the diner counter, the way that he's talking on the phone.
So the Punisher? Are you sure?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's him.
Task force is en route.
Shit. He has a gun.
Oh, shit, he has a gun.
That's Bullseye's version of acting.
I know.
Right? And it's like, it's because he doesn't understand that he's like actually trying to like convince or he doesn't know how to like fake convince someone.
The throwing it away rather than being like the 911 call that's fake. It's just, it's so, oh shit, he has a gun. You know?
I think that's it. It's like to him, like that's enough.
Yeah.
like why give you more? And there's a component of it. I build this into some of the performance. There is an element to him that cannot naturally relate to somebody else's emotion and doesn't sort of know how to set those parameters in normal boundaries.
The myopia blocks out cues.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of, and I had a question because it's usually, there's a gap. When you got 204, when you got this episode and you read it, you didn't know what was coming. You didn't have 5.
Right. I mean, you had told me, you had given me, you know, like as you do, you sort of give me some sketch ideas of where things are going. And I do think it's important to stress, and I think it's really important to stress to you that your sketches do not fully fill it in. No,
Yeah, no, I know.
No, but I'm joking. But it is true.
That's the
It's
thing
like,
that I wonder about
it's
sometimes.
like I'm always super jazzed whenever you give me anything about what's going to happen and what's to come. But it's not till I see it on the page that you can really even remotely begin to make sense of it.
And that seems to be where and when you start your work.
Yes.
You know,
100%. You can't start your work from the vaguest of ideas.
Would you like a truth or a Daredevil?
Hit me with the truth.
Okay. What's your favorite action sequence or fight scene in any movie or TV show ever?
Season 2 Daredevil episode 4, fucking Bullseye in the diner, baby. Let's go. Other than that, Matrix, probably where they enter the lobby in the top of the third act.
Oh,
right?
when bullets just tearing apart the marble columns. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
I mean, that's probably a top 3 movie for me. So, all right, you're up. Truth, Daredevil.
I'll take a Daredevil.
All right, let's go. Daredevil has meted out the most ass kickings, but who has received the most?
Daredevil.
Probably, yeah.
Wouldn't it
actually,
be?
true. Yeah,
I think
yeah.
seems-
I might come in a close second there.
That's true. Okay, truth or Daredevil?
Daredevil, sure, why not?
Okay. Favorite character from the comics that you'd like to show up in a future season?
I mean, let's get some more Defenders back in the scene. What do you think, man? He says as he strokes his chin. All right, truth or Daredevil?
I'll take a truth.
All right. Favorite show besides Daredevil, and you can't say Punisher.
I'd have to dig deep, and it's probably, I like the old school HBO stuff. It would be Deadwood or Sopranos.
Yeah, dude. Fuck, I'm a huge Deadwood fan.
Oh, kind of a perfect show.
Yeah. Amazing.
Always a pleasure to see you, man.
Likewise, dude. Thank you so
And I will
much for
see you
this.
soon.
This is awesome, and I'll see you on set.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, proud New Yorkers, welcome to Scrappin' in the Kitchen.
Here we are talking about episode 204. You just heard from Wilson and Dario, which I'm sure was a boring conversation. Ours is going to be so riveting. Maybe. What happened in 204? The boxing match, which was big. That was a fun shoot. Like,
Do you remember when I fell?
oh yeah.
Do you remember?
Oh my God, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, like, and the best part is like you were like working out and like, you know, you got jacked for that. Like I remember like
Yeah.
you were strong and you fell and everyone reacted like an elderly woman fell. It was like, oh no, like is he and you were fine. Like you popped up. But it was
Back
like
up, yeah.
yeah.
They say that humiliation is the best medicine. So
Yeah. Well, there's kind of like, it's funny, like, there is a quality of like a warm up or something on set where, like, if you yell or sort of like make a noise or something, like, then you can't humiliate yourself in the scene.
I do that all the time, right? So it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I learned that from you. Like, I remember, like, the first day we filmed, you did something that like was just so huge for me. Remember we had to walk down that like long corridor for like to get to that like model scene.
yeah.
And I remember it was like, you know, they were screaming like ready, rolling, and it was like the first day. So like I was nervous and you know, like everyone is, and they said action, you know, and I was like, okay, like, and I remember you said like you don't have to go right on action. Like just wait for a minute, like till you
Yeah.
just like calm down.
Yeah.
And that is so helpful. Do you feel like in the course of your whole career, you learned more from like what people told you or from just like experience and like figuring things out?
So I guess both. You know, I think that because of who I studied with, this woman Sharon Chatton from back in the day, like she's still my mentor to this day, and she's my daughter's mentor now too. She taught me to take control of, you know, my character, no matter what the the circumstance was, no matter where we were shooting, whether we were shooting in a storm or on a boat or on a stage or whatever,
Right.
she taught me that. But in the end, I think it was the filmmakers that I've worked with, it was the other actors that I've worked with that I felt gave me the permission to be the actor that I was, everybody's different, be the actor that I wanted to be,
Right.
I think that's what I was probably trying to instill in you. You just do what you need to do. Don't let anybody, I mean, nobody's doing anything maliciously or anything. Everybody's
No,
got a
totally.
job to do. Things have to move fast, but we also have to take the time to be, if you'll excuse the mushy actor talk, to be in the moment.
Yeah.
Take that little chunk of time.
For this episode specifically, did you know that there was going to be like, how early did you know there was going to be this boxing scene? And were you like, did it make you like, were you excited by that? Were you like, because it's kind of a specific show of violence for Fisk, like
Yeah.
it's in some ways we've seen him have these fights, but it's sort of like there was these small bursts of violence in Fisk, and this is kind of like more of an elongated one.
What I wanted to do is I didn't want to be completely covered up like I am always because of the fat suit, I wanted my arms exposed and my chest exposed if we could, So we figured out a way to find a kind of a place where we can almost be bare chested, but not quite. I can be wearing less and my arms can be exposed. And I knew that I was going to have to build my upper body up to match the girth from the stomach up,
Right.
So that was tough. That was tough.
Yeah.
But to do that while we're shooting,
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, it was so intense. And like, yeah, I remember that was a big conversation with you guys, like you really wanted to show your arms and not have them so covered up. Cause like, weren't they like at one time they were like, maybe you can wear like long sleeves, and you're like,
yeah,
no,
like a rash guard kind of thing.
yeah. Yeah.
But
I think it's so much more effective because it just like, you're still, and the way it's shot is amazing. Like those slow-mo things like that when you're screaming, like that is such a great scene. Like
Yeah.
it's so cool.
It's
And
kind
it's
of reminiscent of like Raging Bull or something like that.
totally.
I have a question for you, actually.
Okay.
You mentioned it earlier on just now, but so you recognize how your confidence has increased as an actor? You personally?
I mean, yeah, like I feel like I really got to grow like so much, and that was always kind of the goal, like to get to work on the show, to get to work with you was like so exciting for me. And you just try and hit your mark and like say your lines in the right way at the beginning.
Yeah.
And yeah, I felt like this was the first time that I really started to like really feel a point of view, like there's that like really crazy experience where like the character starts to really tell you who it is, and you don't expect it, like the thing that he is he is just impulsive. Like he's just like not afraid to say whatever. And that's what I think Fisk respects about him is he isn't afraid of him, like he adores him.
You remember the scene in the first season where I guess where you and I was the first time you and I got intense in a scene together. Everything else was pretty kind of, he's the boss on the, right? He's the boss and you have to follow what the boss says kind of stuff. That was all very early in the season.
Yeah.
But then there's that scene where you actually have to stand up to me and say you were wrong and just fess up, but yet keep your power, keep your agency.
I didn't mean to do it, but I did do it, and I know that's unforgivable. And I'm not even asking for forgiveness because I can't even forgive myself. Because the thing is, you're right. I don't deserve this job.
I remember that like in between takes, we had a discussion.
I'll never forget it. Like you were like, good, like it's getting there. And I remember it was like the final bit that I kept kind of struggling with. And what you said to me was like, just throw it away. Like that, you did that version of it. Like do a different version, just throw it away.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And I think it helped me calm down a lot.
I have to tell you though, you stepped up on that next take and rocked me on my fucking heels. Like I was like, oh my God, look at fucking Michael go. You know, like I'm playing Fisk, but I'm also playing, this guy that wants you to do, it's me, the actor. I want you to do
Yeah.
amazing. And you step up and, we're like inches away from each other's face.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can't fool each other. And it was like it was the first time I'd ever been able to relate to your performance. In other words, it's always a struggle, no matter what. Like every take is a struggle. At every take, you feel like you suck, you fail, you succeed, you fail, you succeed through the whole fucking take. Everybody does. And that's the struggle.
Mm.
But that struggle, if you stay in it and just let yourself struggle, that struggle ends up to be your performance. In my mind, I saw that happen. I saw you for the first time struggling, but staying in and failing and going and failing and succeeding all in one take. And all of that is human behavior.
Yeah.
And that struggle is what becomes our performance.
Totally. And like, well, I mean, I'm so blown away to hear that. But like, yeah, like that is right. Like that is almost what is completely different from like stage acting to theater acting, or theater acting to like film acting. Like it is the main place to fail, like really take big swings, because whatever, if it's not, and like Fisk is a great example of that. Like you take huge swings and like, so I'm sure when that first season, when you were fighting him, there's takes that don't work, right? You're like, okay, that's not really it. But then like you find these things that are just like, wow, I don't know, that was just a huge swing and it worked. Being a young actor, like that is still the scariest thing because you don't want to fail. You want to like,
right. You want to be perfect.
Yeah.
Be 100%.
Yeah. And like you said, like that's not human behavior. Human behavior is the failing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about artists, it's in my experience is that no matter what, whether they're actors, singers, musicians, poets, whatever, we all struggle to achieve 100% in our art. But we know deep down that we can never achieve 100%.
Right.
But yet we constantly struggle to achieve it anyway.
Yeah.
And that struggle is our performance.
Yeah. There's like that really famous, like, who knows, it's probably bullshit, but like that famous story of like Laurence Olivier when he did Hamlet, and like he did this amazing performance, and everyone's like, oh my God, it was the best performance ever. And his co-star walked to the dressing room and she was like, how did you do that? That was the greatest performance of all time. How? And he just looked up like in so much pain. He was just like, I don't know. Like, I have no clue. I wish I could do it again, but I don't know. When it doesn't work, for sure.
Yeah.
And then when it does work, you're kind of like, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, like, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're incredible in the second season, dude. Like, oh my God, you've gone to. I've told you this a million times, but you've gone to a level of acting now where there's just no coming back from it. You're there. You're right where you need to be, and you're only gonna get better and better and better. And that's just because it's experience that separates everybody. That's it. There's no secret, or if you do your work and you've got talent, and it's amazing. I watch Charlie and I talk about it all the time. That in the second season, everybody was given, all the supporting cast was given more to do.
Mm-hmm.
They had their own arcs. You remember the big banquet scene?
Mm-hmm.
So when we were rehearsing that, each time I was able to leave camera. This had never happened before. Like I was able to leave camera and watch all you guys do your thing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
But what was really cool about it is during rehearsal, I can't tell you how proud I was. I don't know another cast that could have pulled that scene together the way you guys did. You know, everybody knew exactly the job that they had to do. Everybody knew the exact blocking that they wanted to do. They stood up for themselves. They made the scene even better than it could have ever been. You know, you guys helped the camera department get that shot. You know, I was sitting and watching all you guys yapping away, doing your freaking thing. And I was just so impressed by all of you. Like, honestly, I walked away that day so happy.
Everyone had such a clear, like, yeah, you just know. I mean, that's the thing about a show that's so cool that I had never had, which is like, I'd done a preview show, but that was my first thing I ever did. And like, I was really just like, what the hell is happening? But like, to really grow a character and like have a season 2 is, and that's what's crazy. Like, you've been with Fisk like 10 years.
Yeah.
And like every season he changes, he grows. Like every year of our lives, we change, we grow. Like, it is so fascinating and fun and cool. And it is helpful. Like it, right? Like it makes your fear for Vanessa, you know, it makes your connection to her. It makes all this stuff much more, the weight is there because it's real. You've been with her 10 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, very little acting required sometimes.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
like even in the scenes that we do together, you know, some of it we have to like use every tool that we have in our bag to get away with. I think about that one scene. Remember the one where I'm calling you out in my office?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're laying down all these things in front of you. Do you remember that? It was a really hard scene.
Couldn't stop
It took
laughing.
us a long time to get that right, you know.
Yeah, we barely,
I was struggling, dude.
It was hard. But you were also in the office like all day. That's like hell.
Yeah.
Because I remember I walked in and you were just like, oh my God. And I was like, exposition day. Like, don't you love it? Yeah.
But, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is that we knew that we weren't nailing it.
Yeah.
And then we had to like, you know, no, we had to just keep finding it, right? And eventually we found it. Just one take.
It was like the last one, we barely got it. We were like, that's kind of it. Yeah, like we got close. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, like, I will say, like, it's just like, yeah, I do feel like we played ping pong really well together. Like, it was just like, oh my God, I felt like I always kind of knew where you were going, you knew where I was going. It was just really fun. Like, we just played a lot. We just did.
Yeah.
And that's just because we got so close really quick. It was just like, this is so fun.
When you're watching your stuff, are you happy with it? Or is it hard to?
I am. Like, I'm happy. You know, like, I think it's hard for me to go like, okay, like good. Like there are scenes, you know, there's a scene with Artie and I think episode 203 that I really love where I'm eating hot dogs.
That's so good.
Like that scene, I'm like, that is so fun and good and funny. And
yeah,
I tend to like, I think it's easier for me to laugh at myself. Like when he's being funny, that I can go, but like any serious thing, I'm like, that's when I get like in my, I don't even get in my head. It's just like hard to watch.
Yeah, the BB stuff is really good. The thing that shines brightest for me in the second season is the whole supporting cast, including yourself. Everybody's just so good.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's pulling off these great scenes left and right. It's awesome.
No, it's so true. Like everyone is so amazing and great, and like it just was so fun. Like that's the best part about it. It's just good people having fun doing good work. Yeah. Well, I can't wait for people to see it, and this is so fun.
Watch and listen to Daredevil Born Again official podcast, available on Disney Plus and wherever you get your podcasts, and stream season 2 of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again on Disney Plus.